Today's Dungeons & Dragons story takes place during an old 5e campaign I was running a while back, which just so happens to be the same campaign that my Deck of Many Things video was set in, and this was happening around the same time that they were beginning to draw cards from the deck. The party had learned that there was a magic item hidden inside a large temple in the jungle that they needed to go get before the villain could take it and use it to destroy the world. I ended up procrastinating a lot before the session, and suddenly it was 10 minutes before the adventure was supposed to start, so I quickly wrote down a few room ideas, then I just kinda threw some stuff together during the session. The first room the party entered into had a statue in each corner of the room, and the statues had large red gemstones for eyes. Before anyone could stop him, Monroe the human fighter walked up to one of these statues and took a gemstone. As you grab the gemstone, you see blue magical runes appear in the 4 large stone doors out of the room, and the hatch on the ceiling that you guys entered through slams shut. Then you begin to hear a hissing noise as the 4 statues start emitting a toxic gas into the room. Nice going, Monroe. Carsey the human warlock then has this imp fly into one of the statues that was emitting gas to slow down the amount of poison entering the room. After a few rounds of the party desperately trying to escape the room, Carsey was able to break one of the magical seals on the door. Mazarath, the orc sorcerer, sprinted towards the door to push it open, but since he was so low on HP, he went unconscious as he hit the door. For his first death save, Mazarath rolled a natural 20, meaning that he woke back up with 1 hit point. He then stood up and ran at the door again, and just like last time, he got knocked unconscious. Thankfully, Monroe and Carsey were able to work together to open the door at the last minute, preventing that one singular trap from turning into a total party kill. They continued going through the dungeon and fought off a bodak and some other undead monsters that were lurking in the halls. Then they came across a branching path, and they decided to go against the most common piece of Dungeons & Dragons advice, and they split the party. One half of the party found a small room with a single chest in the center of it. I go up to the chest and open it. Wait, doesn't this seem a bit suspicious? A chest placed perfectly in the center of the room? Nope, I open up the chest. As you reach towards the chest, it opens up and its large teeth chomp down on your arm. After a brief combat with the 2 players, the mimic was near death, so it suddenly grew legs and started to run away further into the dungeon. As previously mentioned, I had no clue what the layout of this dungeon was, so I kind of just kept drawing a bunch of random, extremely maze-like corridors for the mimic to flee through as I desperately tried to figure out what came next. After 20 minutes of running through the maze, they eventually caught up to the mimic and were able to kill it. The other half of the party also came across a chest in the middle of the room. I go over and open it. The other players literally just ran into a mimic. Shouldn't we shoot it or something first to make sure it's really just a chest? What is the likelihood of there being 2 mimics in the same dungeon? Also, what if there's a bomb or something inside? Then we might blow up the dungeon by attacking it. A bomb. In a medieval fantasy game. Hidden inside an ancient jungle temple. Well, when you put it that way, it doesn't sound likely. When? When does it ever sound likely? While they were talking, I was trying to figure out what kind of magic item should be in there, but their conversation gave me an idea. You see, around a year before this session, I had found a certain item online and had saved it in the hope that I could use it sometime, but I had never had the chance. Until now, that is. I open the chest, what's inside? Inside the chest you find a grenade. What? Let's go, I loot the grenade. As you pick it up, you learn that it is a grenade of many things. Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me. The party met back up again, and while they were exploring the dungeon, Carsey suddenly lost his warlock powers, and his imp disappeared. A few minutes later, he got his powers back, and when his imp returned, Carsey was informed that someone wearing a red duelist hat had just assassinated 2 archdevils and taken over their layers of hell. This will be important later, I promise. Later in the dungeon, Vivian the halfling rogue splits off from the party and went through a door alone. As you walk through the door, you arrive in a 5-foot-long hallway with another door at the end. I open up the door. You see, another 5-foot hallway with a door at the end. I walk down to the door and open it. There's another 5-foot hallway with a door at the end. Really? I guess I go to open it. Behind this door, there's something truly amazing, and that amazing thing would be a room. And inside this room is a 5-foot hallway before there's another door. Are you just throwing a bunch of doors at me because you are stalling trying to figure out what's next in the dungeon? No. Alright, I go and open this door. As you reach towards the door, all of the doors close, and the room starts filling with a poisonous gas. Haha, see? You've fallen for my deception. That was totally the plan I had the whole time. Yep, 100%. I'm a genius. Near the end of the dungeon, the party arrived in a room where there was a stone golem defending an ornate door. The party got into a fight with it, but they quickly learned that stone golems are immune to damage from non-magical weapons. Luckily for the party, throughout the dungeon they had been finding glass weapons, which are a magical weapon variant that have +3 to hit and +3 to damage, but if you roll a natural 1 on your attack, the weapon shatters. Vivian started off the fight by climbing up a pillar, then jumped off and attacks the stone golem with a glass short sword. Vivian rolled a natural 1 on the attack roll, so the weapon shattered. Oh, great. During the fight, the party managed to have all of their glass weapons break, except for a single glass dagger that Vivian had. So the rest of the combat was just Vivian and Carsey slowly whittling down the stone golem's HP, while the rest of the party was tanking damage. Eventually, the party came out of the fight victorious, and they moved on to the final room of the dungeon. They walked into a small room, and in the center was a pedestal that should have held the magic item that they were hunting, but it wasn't there. The back wall of the room had a small tunnel dug through it, leading to the surface. It was at that point that everything began to go wrong for the party, because they noticed someone standing in the corner of the room. It was a half-elf in a red cloak, wearing a red duelist hat, who was holding a red crystal rapier in one hand, and a magical obsidian cube in the other. They quickly recognized the person as Marnos, a noble from their town. The party then put together that this was the person who had taken over the 2 layers of hell. He offered to allow Carsey to control a layer of hell, and Carsey quickly accepted, then left through a portal to the 9 hells. Marnos then readied his weapon and prepared to attack, but before he did, he told the party that he only wanted revenge on Monroe, and he had no issues with the rest of them, and they could leave if they wanted to before the fight. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave then. Me too. Wow, great friends, I really appreciate the help. The fight began, and by the end of Marnos' first turn, Monroe was down to only 9 hit points remaining. Then it moved on to Monroe's turn. I walk up to Marnos, then activate the Grenade of Many Things. He rolled for the effect of the grenade, and I looked on the chart to figure out what it did, and then I just started laughing. Oh no. Roll the die again, and whatever effect you roll this time is multiplied by 10. Oh no. On his next roll, he had gotten the effect that summoned a black pudding, so the room was suddenly flooded by 10 black puddings, which almost instantly dissolved all of Monroe's non-magical gear, then killed him. However, Marnos was able to teleport out before they hurt him too badly, which meant that Monroe sacrificed himself to achieve pretty much nothing. Outside of the temple, the rest of the party realized that the main villain of the campaign now had all 5 of the magic items that he needed to destroy the material plane, so they prepared to go to his lair and fight him, but that's a story for another day.